The Declaration of Independence as a turning point in the U.S. history. Introduction. The history of the United States has been the result of multiple turning points that have shaped the country into what it is today. The U.S. dominates the world in many regards and can be attributed to major norms and values followed across the globe, including liberalization, capitalism, and democracy. However, it can be held that the most important turning point in the country's history was the Declaration of Independence on the 4th of July, 1776. The focus of this essay is on illustrating why the Declaration of Independence was a turning point and outlining the causes and events leading to it. The essay presents an analysis of how the Declaration of Independence changed the course of U.S. history and its impact on today's society. The Declaration of Independence is the most important turning point in American history since it united the colonies during the Revolutionary War and formed the most powerful nation in the world. The Declaration of Independence as a turning point. The Declaration of Independence is considered a major turning point because it changed the U.S. from a colony to an independent state. The text drafted by Thomas Jefferson remains one of the most important statements in the history of the country. The most quoted words are "all men are created equal," which have been interpreted to mean that the American colonists, as a people, deserve the same rights to self-governance as other nations. The Declaration stated that the Creator has endowed unalienable rights to all individuals. The Declaration may have been supported by several Federalist papers, which comprise essays written by prominent figures calling for ratification of the U.S. Constitution. The Declaration and the following documentation, including the Federalist Papers, the U.S. Constitution, and the Bill of Rights, marked an era in which the U.S. became recognized as an independent nation and no longer as a British colony. Additionally, the Declaration came during the American War of Independence. The Declaration formed the basis on which the U.S. was to be established as a constitutional liberal democracy, values that have been held until today. An argument can also be held that that declaration voiced the terms of the British surrender during the war and proclaimed the major goal of those fighting the war. The British monarch had declared that the American colonists were engaged in an open rebellion and made several moves to counter the rebellion. The main idea of the declaration was to state the position that the American colonists held and their resolve to become an independent and free state. The ratification of this declaration gave the U.S. its independence, which means that it marked the point when the U.S. became a nation. Causes and events. Even though the Declaration of Independence proclaimed the formation of a constitutional liberal state, the events leading to it may have had greater contributions towards changing the status of the U.S. from a colony to an independent state. The major cause of the Declaration was the search for freedom from the British monarch. The American colonists were bound by the laws and rules of their colonial master, Britain. As with all colonies of the European countries, independence had to be fought for through organized rebellion that compelled the masters to grant independence and self-rule. As mentioned earlier, the Declaration of Independence came during the Revolutionary War, which started in April 1775. There were several turning points during the war, most of which went in favor of the American colonists. Regardless of the course the war took, it can be argued that it laid the foundation for the Declaration of Independence after a decade of British oppression. Before the Revolutionary War, the Americas were colonies of several European countries. The northern states were British colonies and were the ones majorly involved in the rebellion. 13 northern states won and formed the United States. Through colonization, America was ruled by Great Britain. For decades, the relationship between the two establishments was robust and peaceful, where the British Parliament facilitated the ruling of the colonies. The colonies operated in what could be described as a laissez-faire manner, which allowed them to flourish. Financially, taxation was also part of the agreement, which would also be the major cause of the war. After amassing great debts during the French and Indian War, some of the financial burdens were passed to the colonies. The colonists and the British governors clashed between 1773 and 1775 due to differences in trade and taxation, which eventually triggered the Revolutionary War. Therefore, the search for freedom was the major cause for the Declaration of Independence, where the conflicts and revolutions shortly before the Declaration were the major events leading to the Declaration. The impact of the turning point. The impacts of the Declaration of Independence on modern society have been profound. The course of history of the United States changed and the country took a turn from being a colony to becoming a sovereign nation. From sovereignty, the country also attracted other states to form a federation built on freedom and human rights principles. According to Edel, the Declaration has become a beacon to the world, which is manifested through its proclamation of the nature of human beings and their inalienable rights. Today, people across nations subscribe to the same views on human rights, and modern philosophies are governed by people's perceptions of what constitutes the concept of a human being. The immediate aftermath of the Declaration was that the different colonies stopped trying to negotiate with Britain individually and united for a unified course. As such, the Declaration became a form of mission statement for what was to become the United States. Additionally, the Declaration shaped the direction the new country would take and the place it would occupy in the internal order. The Declaration did not seek to alienate America from the world. Rather, it sought to become a separate and equal member of the powers of the globe. Besides the Declaration of Equal Rights, modern society comprises a world order where the U.S. is a global leader. The Declaration made it clear that this is where the country sought to be. Since becoming an independent state, the U.S. has played a major role in how the modern world operates. Such events as the World Wars and the Cold War reflect on the principles in the Declaration of a free and liberal world. The spread of democracy can also be attributed to the firm beliefs of philosophy as enshrined in the Declaration. Conclusion. The Declaration of Independence is arguably the most important turning point in the history of the U.S. The rationale is that the Declaration brought together the various British colonies to push for independence as a united front, which laid the foundation of the country. The Declaration also proclaimed equality, which has remained the core constitutional and political principle guiding the Americans and the rest of the world. Lastly, the Declaration envisioned a powerful America, which is manifested by the current international order.